What's happening, Fit Fam? It's your coach and trainer, Achidi, and I'm here to bring you your simple and sustainable tip for success. And today's tip is going to begin with the unfortunate other side of success, and that's losing, failing, or just generally not seeing success. I'm going to be talking about just why we tend to avoid putting ourselves out there and eventually potentially losing, and just how we can actually reframe the concept of losing into something that turns us into a winner. So let's get started talking about the actual deep down causes of why we try to avoid losing. So starting off, just why is it so hard for us to often put ourselves out there for fear that we're not going to succeed? Is it because we truly aren't skilled enough, knowledgeable enough, smart enough, rich enough, experienced, whatever you might think? Or the real reason, and I suffer from this one too, so I'm not holding myself out, you're trying to protect your ego. Yeah, that little voice inside of us that can often lead us to the greatest things ever can also hold us back like an anchor holds a ship steady at the ocean. Realistically, your ego is a great asset, but at times it is going to be the worst thing for you. And in this instance, when it prevents you from even starting something, that, my friends, is when your ego has now played you. And that's what you can't allow yourself to constantly keep doing. Always listening to your ego is going to net you a mildly successful life. Yeah, you're going to be pretty safe, but your potential is not going to be met. So you have to allow your ego to be vulnerable in order to be successful. That's the biggest takeaway from this first part, is that we have fear putting ourselves out there. Often it's not because of a lack of knowledge, skills, expertise, or whatever. It's really because we're trying to protect that little voice inside of us. And you actually can turn loss into something productive. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in the next part. So next up, how do we turn tragedy into triumph? It comes down to how do you think about it. The loss, the fail, the non-success has happened. Unless you are Doc Brown with the time machine, that's an age reference right there. You're not gonna be able to go back and change the past, but you can amend, you can change the way you think about what just happened moving forward. So that's how you can actually use loss into a constructive means of changing yourself for the better. Case in point, I'm constantly trying to figure out how this whole social media thing works, what content's gonna work and what content doesn't. When I put something out that I've thought, okay, this is gonna kill them, it's gonna smash it, they're gonna learn something today, and I get maybe like 10 views, a like or two, and that's my mom and my girlfriend. I love it when they do that. I appreciate it, but I can get way down on myself about it. Or I can look at what I put out there, the time that I put it out, compare it to what are other content creators doing, what are other people that I know actually that are successful doing, and I can look at them and look at what I did and see how I can match that up. That is a lot more productive way of accepting a loss than being like, damn, I'm never anything. There's no such thing as having excessive tears of success. Like, no. You're gonna have tears when you just sit there and cry and spend all that time wallowing in self-pity. Have a short pity party and then look at what you did and make changes. Turn your loss, your tragedy, into something that you triumph at. That's how you can really maximize your success potential. Because you know you're gonna mess up at something at some point. It's something new, it's something challenging, so you're not gonna be good at it. So accept that from the beginning and start to seek out where that first loss is gonna happen. Because that kind of like, for me at least, whenever I encounter that first loss in the beginning, oh my gosh, so much better after that point. But you gotta get to that point, so you gotta start. So look forward to that first loss, because that's gonna be your first clue about where you need to start working, what changes you need to make. It's not gonna be the first place you need to start roasting yourself and calling yourself a loser, a failure, none of that. That's not productive. Your first loss, the first thing that goes wrong, is the first place you're gonna start working at improving. And now I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about to help jumpstart that process. So now that I've made it apparent that you should reframe how you think about losing and not being successful, here's a very useful tool to start where it matters most with your mindset. Rather than being like, man, I failed, or I lost, or I suck. Don't say any of those things. Simply tell yourself, I just wasn't successful at something. I wasn't successful. I didn't see success at it. Because when you frame it as a lack of success, that's something that's workable. When you say you lost, that's the end of an outcome. Like when there's a game, there's either a winner or a loser. The person who won and the person who lost. Like, that's it. You can't change that. But if somebody's not successful at something, that means they're working at it. And if you're working at it, that means you're in progress, and that is optimism for moving it in the right direction. So take the word loss and start putting it out of your vocabulary, at least in the sense when it comes to being able to achieve something or be successful. Start referring to it as, did you see success at something or did you not see success at something? When you change up the wording that you say to yourself, that self-talk, it will really magnify your behaviors, and those behaviors become actions, and those actions become your success. So start up here. We're not talking about losing anymore. Nah, that's loser talk. We're talking about lack of success, because that's what successful people do. They either are able to see success or they are working towards it. That's all. And that's how it should work for you. I trust this video gave you some good things to marinate and think about. If so, check out some of the other ones on my channel, but have yourself an amazing week, everybody.